I'm worried about the state of things, especially, that podcast that I listened to with Ivan and Michael, that fucked me up a little bit. I was like, oh, dude, things are worse than, like, I'd kind of insulated, I'd kind of walled myself in a little bit, and I only talk to a good train, like, I only interact with people that are good, and I don't pay much attention to the bullshit at the margins. I speak to a lot of trainers. I speak to a lot of really spectacular plus R trainers that are playing the game on hard mode and do it fucking amazingly.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for.
There's absolutely skill out there.
And
yeah, for sure.
And none of them are calling for bans on anything, and they have no issue with what I do. And in fact, they refer people to me. You know what I mean? So like the industry from my perspective was great. It's like, everything's great. We're humming along. And then I listened to that and I was like, oh shit. We're not okay. We're under attack. We have people who are trying to actively ban, who are lying willfully and on purpose, trying to get tools banned that they know they cannot do their job without.
Yep.
It freaked me out a bit, man.
It reminded me of something I read in this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. There was a passage in there which Stephen Covey talks about where this ship is out to sea and they see this light flashing them in the distance. The first mate goes and gets the captain, wakes him up and says, we're being beckoned, there's another vessel beckoning us. And the captain says the first mate will get on the radio and tell them to change their course. They get on the radio and say, this is what's a ship's name?
Jono.
This is the SS Jono. This is the SS Jono. Avert your course. And then the message comes back, no, avert your course. First mate goes down to the captain. He says, they won't avert. They've told us to avert our course instead. The captain's getting outraged. He said, you go back and tell them we're a warship and then they need to avert their course. Old mate goes back, gets on the radio, says, this is the SS Jono. We're a warship. Avert your course. Message come back, we're a lighthouse.
Yeah.
It really goes to show that sometimes you need to think about the course of action you're taking about instead of being so arrogantly steadfast in your path. Sometimes you need to change what you're doing and the way you're thinking about things.
Yeah. You know what I think? Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant, right? And so that's why, like, I believe in transparency and just putting it all out there so that people have something to look at and they don't assume that something nefarious is going on. I was like, come and watch training. And when people have come after me online, that's usually how I diffuse the whole thing. I'm like, you can come train with me if you like. Oh, I would never train with a monster like you. Just like, no, like, come along. Because you might be surprised by what you see, right? Like, you've developed a picture in your mind, and if we can argue back and forth. Like, I can then say, hey, it's not what you think. Come and have a look. We've been saying it for so long and doubling down recently that as an industry, we need to stick together and there's strength in numbers, and it's that truth in the way that we train and not saving face with anyone. Telling the truth and saying uncomfortable truths. I think that's what everybody in this industry needs to do, and be like taking some risk by telling the truth and be saying, like, this is how I do things. I'm not hiding it from anybody. This is how I do it. And this is how effective I am. Right. And let's see what you do and let's see how effective you are. And if you're better than me, I want to learn.